name is Gary Davis, and I'm here today to talk to you about multi-story buildings. Our case study is that of Carmen Rodriguez. Carmen is a 7-year-old little girl. She was born in Honduras and emigrated to the United States 4 years ago at the age of 3. She is currently living in foster care. Their caregivers are a husband and wife that both work full-time outside of the home. There are 5 children other than Carmen in the home, 3 older and 2 younger, in an age range of 3 years to 15 years old. For the last 4 years, Carmen has lived in the United States, most recently in the suburbs of Tampa, Florida. She has always lived in a single-story home. Carmen's first language is that of Spanish. The home where she lives predominantly speaks Spanish. She lives in a Hispanic neighborhood and attends a Catholic church around the block from her home. Is adventitiously blind as a result of abusive head trauma, also known as shaken baby syndrome. She is totally blind in her left eye, and she has 5/400 vision in her right as a result of a cataract. English is the only language used in the regular ed classroom that Carmen is assigned to. Her classroom teacher describes her as shy, timid, but states that Carmen will do anything you ask her to do. The only other services she receives is from a TVI on a pull-out basis, and she's going to start receiving orientation and mobility services. As stated earlier, the main concept we are teaching with this tactile model is multiple story buildings. In addition, Carmen needs help with the concept of spatial relationships. There are several supporting concepts that also must be taught. They include front and back, floor and ceiling, stairs, first story and second story, traveling up and down stairs, and that ceilings become the floors as you go from the first to the second story. The prerequisite concepts that Carmen already has include knowledge of her right and left sides, and knowledge of up and down, as well as the knowledge of inside and out. Our goal concepts include what walls, floors, and ceilings are. That walls are to your right and left, and front and back. Floors are below you. Ceilings are above. Stairs, and that stairs allow you to travel up and down. Knowledge of what a first story, second story of a building are, similarities and differences between the two, and that ceilings become the floors as you move from the first story to the second story. The last concept is that of multiple stories, and that our model, even though it only has 2 stories, you could have many more stories in a building. The first lesson in the sequence would be to review with Carmen her spatial awareness, making sure she knows her right from her left, front from back, her top from bottom. We would then start with the lessons dealing with the tactile model. The tactile model starts with the base, the floor. Notice how it is grooved to receive the other pieces of the model. It's labeled not only in English but in Spanish. After all, Carmen is primarily a Spanish-speaking person. She was born in a Spanish-speaking country. She lives in a Spanish-speaking family in a Spanish neighborhood. So we start with the concept of floor and the fact that the floor is below you. Next, we move into the concept of wall, and that walls are to your right and left, front and back. The next concept is that of a ceiling, and the ceiling is above you. So we've now discussed with Carmen the idea that the floor is below you, the ceiling is above you, the walls are to the right and left or front and back of you. Our next lesson would be that of stairs, and the fact that stairs are made up of individual steps and that they're designed to allow you to travel up or down the steps. This model was created with a landing at the top so that the student would be able to understand that when you get to the top of the steps, you don't simply fall to the bottom again, but rather there's something there for you to travel onto. The steps were made with a riser that's a different color so as to make sure that it's easy to see for somebody with low vision. The next lesson would be to review the issue of steps, and again, why we use steps to go up and down, and then to introduce the second story. Discuss with her the similarities and differences between the first story and the second story of a building. Once she's explored the ideas of similarities and differences, we then move into the discussion as to why some buildings have a second story and others only have a single story building. The last two lessons we would have with Carmen. One, discussing the issue that a ceiling can also be a floor, so that she can gain that concept as you're traveling from the first story to the second story. The last is that even though our model only has 2 stories to it, that it could have hundreds of stories in this building. A few notes about my tactile model. The size is manageable. When fully assembled, it is 13 inches deep, 15 inches wide, and 19 inches high. When broken down, it's just 13 inches deep, 15 inches wide, and 11 inches tall. The scale is 1 inch equals a foot. This scale was chosen to match the dolls that are used in the lesson. The material this model is made from is very durable. It can be cleaned, is non-toxic, and environmentally friendly. All joints are glued, screwed, and nailed to ensure a long, serviceable life. Because it is constructed from pieces, it's easy to transport and store. Because it can be broken down, the model is easily carried into the school in one trip. The model provides a lot of different textures to explore, from smooth to embossed, rough to woven. The first and second floors are of different colors to provide visual interest for the low vision learner. The steps and risers are different colors to make it easy to identify the different pieces. All the pieces are large and easy to handle. No complicated fasteners or closers. The pieces fit together in grooves that are finger safe to avoid pinching. The colors allow for easy identification of the inside and outside of the pieces for those with low vision. Labels are done in both English and Spanish for bilingual learners. I chose to construct my model out of MDF, medium density fiber board, for several reasons. The first is it's flat and easy to work. It can be cut and formed with average woodworking tools. The MDF holds the shape well and has no real grain or splinters to injure small hands. It takes paint well and is durable, ensuring many years of use with students. This product is non-toxic and safe for mouth contact, though not recommended. In addition, a 4x8 sheet of MDF is less than $20, making it a good value. I used about 2/3 of a sheet of MDF to make this model, leaving me 12 square feet to make other tactile models with. The floor covering, wallpaper, and paint were left over from other projects, but had I purchased them, it would cost probably an additional $20. All the other components of this project are chosen because they were easy to clean and ensure the health and safety of my students.